Let's talk about beta male traits to stop. And the first one we're going to cover is neediness. The blue pill beta males, they all have this really needy personality when it comes to sex and to dating. They feel like they absolutely need, they must have the love, the princess in their life. They see the crush, the girl that they want, and they have this like really obsessive desire for her. You probably experienced this yourself in like high school, right? You really felt like you needed her. You're cuddling your pillow thinking about her. You're obsessing over her. What's interesting is the red pill like alpha male, he still has a high level of desire for the woman he wants. He still wants to get the girl, but he doesn't feel like he needs her. He has abundance. Whether he actually fucks a lot already, which makes it quite easy to like not feel so needy, or he'll just kind of act like it and act like, yeah, he's already got an abundance of girls. The opposite is when you're acting like you've got scarcity. Scarcity is like you don't have many options. So whenever there's a girl who showed you a bit of attention, you very desperately crave her because you don't have any other girl who's been showing you attention. So do you see how this can trip you up? Because when we're getting rid of our sort of blue pill programming and we're trying to become more red pilled, if you still have this kind of need for the girl that speaks to you, and you have this like really pressured, agitated kind of feeling towards every girl you're interested in because like you just really need them in your life, you'll actually become less attractive. So the big tactic of stopping being needy is to convince yourself that you actually don't need the girl at all. And an extreme example for this is how you need to live as the red pill guy, which is you've got to be okay if you lose her. If she leaves your life, if she goes with another guy, if she disappears, you've got to be absolutely fine. You should, in fact, even be weirdly happy about it. Like imagine there's a girl you're texting right now you really care about, right? You really need her. And I'm telling you, that's the reason why she's probably not going to meet you in person. That's the reason why she's not going to fuck you compared to she will fuck like one of the red pill guys who doesn't really need her. If she stops texting you, if she disappears, if she gets into a relationship like the girl you're into, you would be hurt by that. What you need to do is to start convincing yourself that if you lose any of these girls you're currently talking to, it's chill. It's absolutely fine, bro. There's so many girls out here. What we don't want is for you to just feel like you just need this particular girl, which is more like one-itis, which is another module inside of this section, or just the girl in general. You need to convince yourself that even if you have no girls in your life, you're absolutely fine with. Which, to be honest, you know what I'm actually quite proud of? A lot of guys in like this kind of generation are actually pretty decent at this. Like a lot of guys have got this kind of like locked in personality, like you probably do with self-improvement, where you know like, yeah, you're actually fine without having a girl or multiple girls in your life right now. Now that's easy right now. It's actually quite easy. It's not that much of a flex for you to do this. You know why? Because you don't actually have any girls who are into you. What I want you to imagine is, imagine you've been doing your cute little monk mode, whatever, and then there's a girl you're actually quite into and she's been texting you back, she's flirting with you, your heartbeat rises, you can't wait to meet her. That's when you'll start to get needy. It's very easy to not be needy when there's no girls who fucking want you, right? So I want you to mentally prepare for the moment that you'll become more attractive, there'll be more girls who are into you, and even then you don't feel like you need them in your life. You've got to feel like quite like a self-sufficient man where you're just aligned to your own life and there's very few people you actually need to like make it happen. You need yourself, you need your health, and then maybe your family and some of your best friends. But a woman, no. Even wife, this is like the blue pill programming is to think like, the blue pill programming is to think, okay, but once you've got a wife, then you can kind of accept the fact that you need her. But that's what those blue pill guys do, and that's why basically all of them get cheated on and divorced. Even, let's say, you get into the future with your wife and you have children with her, you should still subtly have this mindset of like, yeah, like, I don't need her. If she died or if we split up, I would still live and I would still go on. You need to have that kind of mindset because the moment you don't believe that, that's when you will start to become so unattractive that often you will drive the woman off in the first place. Trust me when I say neediness is one of the most unattractive traits at the start of a relationship, you know, just in the beginning stages when you're just talking to each other and all the way to the end. It's repulsive. In fact, if you're needy, you'll often basically never even get anything out of the girl that you're into. And I'll teach you something really interesting. I have a very interesting life because I'm a guy, but I actually have like the hot girl effect. Like a lot of guys know me, a lot of guys approach me, a lot of girls actually approach me, which is quite rare, right? So I promise you this is so interesting. I pick up on whether people are needy for me or not. Basically, almost no girl is needy to begin with. Once they're kind of attached, it doesn't feel like neediness. It's just like, strong attachment. But a lot of guys come across as needy. Like, I'll be in the gym and I get cold approached like by guys, not in a gay way, but like, just guys come up to me to say thank you for your videos, whatever. Like literally about 3 to 10 times a day. Like, I live in quite a packed city, so it's like a lot, right? Imagine that. Imagine getting approached 10 times a day with people saying like, oh, hey bro, like I watch your videos, thank you, whatever. And a solid like 25% of the guys who come over have this like stink of neediness with them. Where a lot of the guys who come over, I can tell they don't really need anything from me. They actually want to give to me. They want to give me kudos, thanks, whatever. But a lot of guys will come over and they'll almost act like they're giving to me by, giving me a fist bump and saying thank you. But they have this really desperate feeling of needing to connect with me more, of trying to become friends with me. And it's always those guys who actually creep me out. And the thing is, those guys who are needy, what I've noticed is they're actually often still as jacked and attractive as some of the other guys. They say the same words as some of the other guys, but some guys really make me feel uncomfortable. Like in a second, I can tell they're needy because it's this subconscious desire that you might not even pick up yourself. But just imagine that. Imagine if you saw me in public somewhere. Imagine what kind of energy you might have when you come up to say hello. Like, oh, hey, Hamza, I watch your videos. I'm in Library of Adonis. Thank you. Whatever. Most guys are actually pretty chill because, I make videos for guys to become more confident, whatever. But I'm telling you, quite a lot of guys, they don't even realize it, but they're so desperate for the chance of trying to actually become like friends with me, to get my phone number, to try and like hang out with me. And that's when it gets like really unattractive. And this is the exact same with girls. When you go up and you like desperately like need to get her number, you need this win, it's so unattractive. That's when, sometimes you went up to a girl and she kind of looks at you like disgustingly, even though you look kind of nice, you haven't said anything. What's interesting is it's just like this invisible stink when a person is needy. It's like, it's so repulsive. There's ways you stop being needy, and a lot of people will tell you, it's like, oh, go build up a good life and whatever. But I'm telling you, that's the long-term thing, is like, oh yeah, get jacked, have a good life, get friends, get girls, whatever. But there's a lot of guys who are jacked who come up to me and they're still stinky needy as well. It's not about many of those real world accomplishments. It's more like you have to check in with yourself and really think about how you're showing up to people. Think about how desperately you want a person, and think about where that energy is coming from. Is it coming from desperation and need, or is it just coming from like authentic desire? Like, there's been times where I've felt like a very high level of desire for a girl, and I've seen a girl, she walks past and I'm like, holy fuck, she's fucking fit. I want to fuck the shit out of her today. I stand up, I literally go fucking walk her down and go up to her. And there's been times where I've like been direct as fuck, like, excuse me, you've got like my ideal body type. We should get to know each other more. 6 hours later, I'm fucking the shit out of her. Didn't come across as needy, even though what I said might have sounded needy. Because the energy behind it was like, oh, if you don't like me, if we don't connect, I'm still good. That's the difference. It's not the words you say. It's not even the level of man you are. It's what you believe about yourself if this does not go well. When you go up to the girl, if you think that if it doesn't go well, in some ways you're kind of hurt. In some ways it says something about you. That's when you'll come across as needy. When you go up to a girl or even a guy and you have this just subconscious belief that like, bro, if they don't like you, who gives a fuck? My life's fucking sick. When I go up to someone, like when I go up to a girl, my sort of energy is almost the opposite of neediness, where I almost treat her like she should be needy for me. I genuinely believe, like, this is one of my absolute beliefs, a girl has to be retarded to not be into me. I genuinely believe like a girl has to be like kind of like fucking stupid to not be into me. And the same with like a lot of guys as well. Like I genuinely believe if you wouldn't want to be friends with me, you'd have to be a bit of a fucking retard. I genuinely believe that. So it's not like I'm outwardly reaching for people. It's more like, even if I go and walk up to someone, it's more like I'm pulling them into me. I'm not running towards them. I'm not desperate for it. I'm not coming off as this desperate, needy guy trying to beg for the number or something. If they're not into me, I almost shrug my shoulders and think, oh yeah, she's probably a bit of a retard. It's fine. You've got to have that level of being self-assured where if a girl doesn't want you, you don't believe it says anything about you and you just think, oh, whatever, her loss. That's it. It reminds me of, I used to coach this guy years ago. And this guy was a fucking Chad, bro. He was 6'2", tall, attractive face, like really stylish guy. and he went out cold approaching as like practice. He came home and he got on the call with me, and he was fucking crying because he was so fucking upset. He was like, yeah, I went up to two girls and then they both said no, and then I even went up to a fat bitch and even she said no. And I was like, holy fuck, bro, you look like a fucking Chad. You're tall, you're attractive, you're stylish, and you're actually a social guy, and you're like this upset that some random girl said no. And I could tell why. He just stank, not physically, not like an Indian, but he just stank of neediness, of desperation. He probably didn't even want the fat girl, but he needed the win. And when you need the win, or you need her number, or you need to have sex, it's just stinky. So the beta male trait, the number one trait, stop being needy. Be absolutely fine with not having the girl, and be almost on the other end of the bell curve, where if there's neediness, extreme neediness here, the other end of the bell curve is not indifference. Indifference is the middle point where it's like, oh yeah, if she doesn't want me, whatever. The other end of the bell curve is almost like this pull where it's like, oh, if you don't want me, you're the retard. Do you see the difference? So neediness, don't have that. Indifference, if she doesn't want me, it's fine. That's okay. That's like a one step forward. But the point I want you to get to is, if she doesn't want me, she's a retard. For me, I think if she doesn't want me, she's a retard. You know why? Because I'm a fucking millionaire, jacked kickboxer, big dick. I can fuck like a fucking porn star. I'm famous. I'm a fucking leader of men. I'm athletic, and I'm also kind and generous. Like, bro, I could go on about that. Now, you can't say you're a millionaire because probably you're not. But you know what you can say to yourself? She's a retard if she doesn't want me because I'm a future millionaire. Imagine that level of confidence. Imagine you see a girl that you want and you think to yourself, I'm a future millionaire. If she doesn't want me, it'll be funny. It'll be her loss. She'll see me on like Instagram popping off in a few years from now. That level of confidence, now you go up and speak to her like you've got big dick energy. Just see that. Now, of course, you might come across as arrogant or whatever, but I'm telling you, bro, I come across as arrogant with every girl. They're still getting their cheeks clapped like 6 hours later. So don't you think that that's like a bad trait. If anything, I would rather you be arrogant than insecure and needy.